your quality of life. Now, I'm not saying
Look at them, they're going nuts.
Decided your quality of life isn't what they think it ought to be,
They're
but
going
I think
crazy.
everybody out there would prefer to have a good quality of life.
Then there's the Bible that talks about sodomites, etc. The Bible that talks about the lifestyle of sodomites and what should happen to them.
Well, yeah, but, you know, we live in a society that has embraced
them.
That whole thing, and we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, like the people that go to dentist, that recent thing, and I don't remember exactly where it happened, but some dentist was using rusty, you know, dental picks and things like that, not sterilizing them.
What are you doing on my mouse?
Using the same files for patients, and on it goes. And all of those people have been notified that they have to be tested for AIDS and hepatitis.
Get off my mouse. Here.
Well, I don't know how many times I've ranted on about, look, you know, we can sit here and say, yes, the Bible says that is an abomination. And it's true. However, we don't live in a nation that's going to pay attention to any of that. They haven't paid attention to it. They're not going to pay attention to it. You know what? Killing babies is against the Bible, too. But they do that to the tune of over 4,000 a day. Right. You know, so they're not going to listen to biblical arguments. We've tried.
Yeah, that's
it's correct. It's the truth.
That's who you
but they ain't going to hear it.
they're so happy they pooped.
What about the health aspect? I mean, gee, all these unsuspecting people now have to go get checked for AIDS and hepatitis because why?
Look at that one, he's listening.
Now, obviously, the dentist is at fault here for being a pig, but he didn't give these people hepatitis. It was the homosexuals that he...
You better not poop on my mouse.
And or IV drug users, too.
Look at them all listening to Frank.
Well, that's true because, you know,
they're listening to Frank and Melissa.
This is not in the news much.
AmericanVoiceRadio.com.
They'll put the statistics out, but
Wednesday nights.
Sexually transmitted diseases are just running
Frank, I gotta ask you a question.
I mean, there's a real problem. There's a real
My chick just pooped. Do you have that effect with all females or what?
With sexually transmitted diseases, and this isn't even AIDS. Okay, they're not. They aren't counting AIDS in with that because you know they consider that a death sentence. You know,
snap!
These are just gonorrhea and syphilis and stuff like that. They haven't gone away. They've gotten worse.
Yeah. And by the way, I did look it up, and it was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What was?
That dentist.
Oh, okay.
And apparently 7,000 of his patients were warned that they might have been exposed to hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and HIV. And, you know, he was just doing everything unprofessionally and unsanitary, not sterilizing equipment, etc., on and on. So think about it. That could happen at any dentist you go to, any doctor. That's why people get infections in hospitals so often. It's not just, you know, it can be from doctors, nurses, etc., not washing their hands when they go from patient to patient. Yes, and that's a huge thing. They've done studies on it. They've put cameras in hospitals to let them know, hey, we're watching you and what you do. And it only improved just a little bit, them washing their hands more than when the cameras weren't there. So, hello, you know, you're risking your life when you go to these places.
Listening to Mel, listen.
And, you know, you're going to the doctor's office. You go out to a restaurant. You can get hepatitis from eating food. They lied and told my dad, who I believe they murdered, after his $1 million health insurance policy was, you know, at the limit. As soon as that happened, basically, they murdered him. And they gave him, I believe, on purpose, hepatitis from a blood transfusion. In fact, he got a lot of blood transfusions.
Well, I don't die, you know.
Then they lied and said that the reason he had it, after they didn't tell my family, and I'm the one that said he has all the symptoms of it, I kept telling my sister he needs to be checked for hepatitis. None of the doctors, nurses, or anybody told my family that he had it, nor him. Nor his wife.
Now, I wouldn't go as far to say that they did it on purpose, other than the fact that this is a fact, folks. The blood supply
is unsafe
in America is not safe. Period.
Yes, and he had refused to get transfusions for years, and they finally goaded him into it. And when he did, look what happened to him. And he died very soon thereafter. When it came out, yes, he actually has hepatitis. And it didn't come out because of me, even though, they should have had him tested and they should have asked the questions that I was saying. I said he should be tested for AIDS too, and once I found out, yes, in fact, he does have hepatitis, and so should his wife, etc., because it can be highly contagious, many different ways when you live with a person that has it. But that never happened either. But the reason why they found it was because he went to one of these places that they say is for a rehab type of thing, to get you better. And he was very sick, and my sister and I, thought he was going to die. So, although I'm against hospitals, she was trying to get him to go back to the hospital, and the people at this rehab place, nursing home kind of place, said, oh, he's not that sick, So they refused to get him an ambulance.